Hi guys, Lindsay here with Storybook Family Farm. So as you know, this is an election year. There is a lot of different things that are swirling around. There's a lot of fear that's been going around in the collective. There's a lot of people that are putting a lot of faith in that one presidential candidate versus the other is going to greatly change the outlook of how society works in the United States and even on a global scale. And to be quite honest, I don't really think that things are going to change that much, but there's still a lot of fear. There's still a lot of concern that things are going to be difficult. In saying that, because there's been a lot of different posts that I've been seeing of people spreading even more fear of preparedness videos and things of that nature and what you need to stock up on, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of things that are non-physical things to stock up on to prepare your households for what is to come. One of the biggest things that I think you should stock up on is actually common sense. In the months and the years to come, there's going to be a lot of gaslighting, a lot of lies, a lot of misdirects, a lot of confusion, a lot of back and forth and swirling of information to where no one really knows what the truth is. If you develop your common sense and really try to lean heavily on that versus listening to what other people have to say, you will then fare a lot better because then you'll be able to discern what is real, what is not, what makes logical sense and what doesn't. I'm sure we've all been around people that like to tell a lot of lies. When you start questioning the people that tell a lot of lies, they usually start trying to misdirect and crisscross things like this really fast, or they'll start backpedaling. When you start seeing things like that happening, where things are not adding up, where stories just simply don't make sense, no matter how many times somebody reiterates it to you and it just doesn't make sense, that's because there's dishonesty in there. Because there's a lot of misdirects, there's a lot of lies, there's a lot of deceit that is happening. And, I'm sure we all know that politicians are very known for telling the truth all of the time. They also don't wear masks. They don't ever act. They don't ever have scripts or anything like that. They're very real people like me. Yep, that's exactly what they are. The next thing is using discernment. If something that you hear on the news or in the media or around you just doesn't sit well with you, it doesn't feel right, that is your intuition trying to tell you that it is not right. If you start listening to that discernment and using discernment and listening to your intuition, things will be easier for you because then you can kind of wake up a little bit and realize that you can count on yourself, that you can trust yourself, you can trust your own senses. The next thing that I want to suggest is start writing things down, like old-fashioned pen and paper, writing things down. When you notice something and it feels like it's kind of important, write it down. Because in months to come, I'm sure that somebody's going to try to convince you that that didn't happen or that wasn't said. Because I'm sure we all remember 4 years ago, there was a lot of things that were said of martial law was going to get enacted. People weren't allowed to leave their homes. You weren't allowed to leave your property. There was a lot of crazy shit that was about to happen. And then 6 months later, a year later, whatever, there was a lot of backpedaling that, oh, we never said that. That was never going to happen. Oh, nope, that didn't happen. No, none of that happened, right? I'm sure we all remember different things that other people have told us never existed, never happened. That's the way that it works. That's the way that the media works, is to try to convince us that we don't know nothing, that we are wrong, that our memories are wrong, and that we are just mere peasants that don't know anything. Okay? So using your discernment is important to make sure that you're listening to people that are good, credible sources. There's a lot of people on YouTube that pose as being homesteaders that are actually fearmongers. And when you're watching these people and they're going to different stores and things of that nature and they're buying all these different vegetables and they're buying all these different pasta sauces and these different canned meats and all this stuff, and they're talking about preparedness, but then they also talk about that's why they have a homestead. To be quite honest, my family buys barely any meat at all because we have a homestead. We don't buy canned meat, we make canned meat. We don't buy green beans from the store, we grow them. We can them ourselves. We don't buy pasta sauce because we grow it ourselves and make it ourselves. That is the purpose of living a self-reliant life, is to grow things and create things yourself. There's a lot of people that are pretending to be... There's a loud truck going by, hold on. and we're good. There's a lot of people that pretend to be homesteaders for the title of being a homesteader, to be a homesteading influencer, when what they actually are doing is scaring the bejesus out of people, making them feel fearful, so then that way they look like they're on a pedestal, that they know a lot of stuff. So then they can get you to keep watching, because if they claim that they know all the answers before anybody else does, well, then it's kind of like, oh goodness, I'm talking to God. He's going to tell me everything. It's kind of one of those situations that the human mind gets very easily tricked into those sorts of a thing. The other thing is to start listening to your intuition. If you're at the store and you feel that you should probably pick up a bag of rice or an extra bag of beans, or that you want to buy more seeds this year than normal, or you randomly start seeing stuff on sale that's like toilet paper, things that are, I use that as an example because it's something that we're low on at home, and I have to keep mentally reminding myself that next time we go to Walmart, I got to get more. But if you were to go to the store and it was suddenly on sale, buy an extra pack of it, so that way you can put it away. So then that way, in a couple months, if you have a price increase on other stuff, you bought the toilet paper while it was on sale, so that way you don't have to worry about that in 6 months from now. Things of that nature, that when you find these said the wrong thing, these sources that are shelf stable, like for us, okay? I'm a chick. Obviously, I'm in childbearing age. For us, there's been times that we've gone to the store and we found tampons on clearance. There's nothing wrong with tampons. They don't expire. It's not like milk where it's going to curdle. God, that would be bad. Oh, God. That's the mental image of a tampon curdling just threw me for a loop there. But there's been plenty of times that we've found tampons on clearance. I'm only 32. Chances are I'm going to be having periods for at least 15 more years or so. I'm going to still use them. I'm still going to need them. We have daughters that are young adults and stuff. They might need them. So if you find them on clearance because they change the way the package looks for a new fancy design, just buy this stuff. It's not going to go bad. And then if for some reason, like I had to have a hysterectomy or something like that, and I had extras, I would just give them to someone that still used them. It's not that big of a deal. When you see stuff on clearance, just go for it. Different things are going to start aligning for people that are living in their truths to make it so then that way they can afford to keep going on. There's, in the Bible, it talks a lot about the blessings of obedience, and I honestly believe that no matter what your faith is, no matter what religion you are or non-religion you are, they all talk about different things of being faithful and following your guidance, following your intuition, and then being blessed for following the advice or the callings that you had. I honestly believe that as you travel down a path and you are open to following guidance and living your life in a way that is truthful and honest and pure, that you will become blessed by that. And that's, a much deeper topic than what this video needs to entail. But those are some of the things that I think is very imperative to stock up on. They don't cost anything, and they honestly will help you be free mentally. The other thing, too, is for the love of God, stop watching the news, stop watching social media, stop buying into all of the propaganda. None of it is good for you. It is all just constant stress to keep you in a state of fear, because when people are afraid, it becomes much easier to feed them anything, okay? It's just like how I said earlier about the whole, oh, this person's like talking to God because they suddenly know more than I do about things. You can know just as much as these other people. You can become an expert in your own life simply by saying, I am the expert of my own life. I lived my life. I know what I need. I know what I want. I know who I am. I can trust myself. Then you suddenly become an expert of your own life. You don't need someone to tell you what to do. You don't need someone to tell you how to live your life. You don't need life coaches. You don't need people that are selling fear to try to tell you what to do. You don't need to read comments on these posts and on these videos stating that my so-and-so lived through the Great Depression. Newsflash for you. All of us have people that lived through the Great Depression. We all have ancestors that lived through the Great Depression. If we did not, we would not be alive, okay? It is not some sort of rite of passage that you had a grandma or a mom or a great-grandparent or whatever that lived through the Depression. You would not be here if you didn't have tough, badass ancestors that lived through very difficult things. You would not be watching this video. You would not be alive if your ancestors did not homestead in some regard. There's this big thing where it feels like, that we're all new to this realm and that we're all new to homesteading and growing food and doing all these things, that we're new to it, that we don't have experience with this, and that we didn't come from a line of people doing this. That it's some sort of rite of passage that if you have ancestors that did this, then, it makes sense for you to do it too. To be quite honest, all of our grandparents were homesteaders. They just didn't go by that. Whether they lived in the country or in the city, they all, at some point, homesteaded. They canned food. They learned how to cook from scratch because there wasn't microwaves. There wasn't the conveniences. There wasn't fridges and freezers like there is now. Like, anybody can do this. We all come from lineage that did the exact same thing as homesteaders of today are doing. This is not a new trendy fad. This is literally people just living their lives. Everybody can do this. It is not hard. The other thing is start having faith in your own self, in your own senses. Start believing yourself. What you see with your eyes, what you hear with your ears, what you taste with your mouth, what you smell with your nose, what you feel with your hands is real. Don't let anybody have power over you to tell you that what you are sensing is not real. Because there's going to be a lot of that in the future, of people trying to tell you that you're imagining things, that you're seeing things, that you're hearing things, all this stuff to make you feel like you're crazy. Gaslighting is like the biggest thing that's happening, okay? It's like the new fancy pants thing that is going to continue to happen because, well, that's what liars do. So, in saying that, if you guys have other non-physical things that you think are valuable to leave in the comments section for other people to hear, to read, to see, please do so. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys.